Hello everyone, this is Doodle Stuff and welcome back to another video. Today I will be ranking every CrossWorld in the new Sonic game, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. This game is amazing and really fun, so let's rank the main gimmick CrossWorlds. These will not be ranked in tiers, but just from worst to best. They will be ranked with this criteria. Track design, visuals, and music will play a smaller part than both of those, but will still play some part as well. Keep in mind this is my opinion. You can feel free to share yours in the comments. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. At 15, the worst CrossWorld in the entire game, we have Roulette Road. I'm putting this solo because while the track looks great and the song is fire, I feel like the track is mostly just turns. Most of the time spent in Roulette Road is just you drifting and trying not to run into a wall. The turns are very sharp and you have to sometimes let go of the accelerate button to properly turn without losing your position in the race. I feel like this may be a problem for only me because it is hard for my hands to let go of accelerate and then press it again, but that might just be because I have a broken finger and with my cast I can't reach the button so easily. Maybe once I get it removed, my opinion on this track will change, but for now, it's my least favorite CrossWorld in the entire game. At 14, we have Sky Road. This track was the best one in Team Sonic Racing, but in this game, it does not hold up as well. First of all, the track is so pink and bright that it hurts my eyes whenever I actually go to this CrossWorld. Also, there are not that many item boxes on this track, which is a problem because it makes it a lot harder for you to raise your position in the race unless you are in first place. But it is a good place to front run since no one can hit you because there's such a small amount of items. One thing I really like about this track is that when you're at the very, very end of the track, there's a sign that tells you who the player in first is. And if you're in first, seeing your name up there just makes me feel good. It makes me feel proud of myself for actually being up there. As you can see right here, the board is right up there. So, yeah. So, in all honesty, the track just isn't bad. It's just that the other tracks are just much better. At 13, we have Dinosaur Jungle. This track looks amazing. Sonic team did a really good job on the visuals. But in the track design, there are some flaws. The first part is great, but I feel kind of disappointed because it is very repetitive. You do the same jump 3 times, then you go back to driving in your car. This is where the track is the worst. I feel this way because there's simply too many obstacles and dinosaurs. There's one path that you can take where you have a small chance of getting hit by a dinosaur, but the space between the cactuses is so small that almost every time I take the path, I always get hit. And you are at a higher ranking online, a small mistake continue from first all the way back to 12th. I have lost multiple races because I was just trying to take this path. After the part with the dinosaurs, the track mostly becomes turns or just driving straight. However, this lasts for around 10 seconds, then the CrossWorld ends. My opinion on this track may be because of a skill issue. I do not think it is a bad track overall. Once I master the track, I will probably enjoy it a lot more than I do right now. At 12, we have Sweet Mountain. This track is very good and the song slaps. My main issue with the track is that it is so short. It is the shortest CrossWorld in the entire game. The track lasts around 30 to 35 seconds, but that is just too short. If the track was 10 or 15 seconds longer, it would easily be in the top 5. But anyway, let's talk about why this track is good. You get to play as all 3 of the game modes, and the sections are really fun. I especially love that one section where there are ramps and you can trick off of to go in the middle of donuts to get item boxes, as you can see it right here. Sweet Mountain just needs to be a little bit longer. Otherwise, it would have been even better than it is right now, and it would definitely be in the top 5. So, yeah, that's basically just my main opinion about Sweet Mountain, and it's a really good track. At 11, we have White Cave. The music and aesthetic is what really carries this track, at least for me. The track looks great, and the Sonic Riders nostalgia is amazing. The song is so good, but the track design is just not so great. It is either driving in the straight line or tricking from platform to platform, taking the fastest route possible. The best part of the track is the final part where the vines pop out of the ground and try to hit you. They're pretty easy to avoid, especially because they're indicators such as the dirt, trying to tell you which ones will actually pop out and slow you down. Honestly, this is not a really bad track, and usually I would always pick it when it shows up anyway, just because I love the aesthetic and the song. At 10, we have Steampunk City. This may be the first placement that may be a little bit controversial to some of you, but I stand by it. This is an original track, and that is great, but it feels a little too forced. It is one of the longest CrossWorlds. I think it's the second longest one, but I'm not sure, so don't take my word for that. And sometimes it feels like it'll just never end. There are a lot of turns, the map can get really confusing at times, which is what leads me to not enjoy it as much as other CrossWorlds. There are also not that many item boxes, which makes it so that it is hard to pass other players in this CrossWorld. The one aspect where it really shines is the aesthetic in the song. The steampunk aesthetic is amazing, and I would love to see it as an actual level in an upcoming Sonic game, if they choose to do it. The song is really good too. Just like most of the track before, it is a great song and aesthetic, but falls off in the track design. Even though the track design is really good, just way too long. At 9, we have Golden Temple. This is another original CrossWorld, which is really good and cool. The song is amazing and it looks really good too. I love gold, so seeing it look this good, it's just amazing to me. Anyway, let's get into the track design. The first half of the track is great, but the second half is just not so fun. When you first arrive in Golden Temple, you're met with 3 different paths. The pathways from the left and right have item boxes, allowing you to boost your position in the race. The path in the middle does not contain any items, but it is faster than the other paths, so the middle is the path I usually take. After that, you're mostly avoiding golden spears. But in the second half, as you can see here, we are just in water and nothing is happening. You're just boosting on some dash pads and getting an item box, and that's it for the rest of the CrossWorld. The thing that sucks about this is that this is the longest CrossWorld in the game, and this boat part takes up around half of it, which is kind of annoying and it just feels really boring. But the chaos does make up for it just a little bit. Then the CrossWorld ends. It started off so good, but it just really fell off at the ending, even though it's not a bad CrossWorld overall. At 8, I put Magma Planet. This CrossWorld is also known as Lava Cave, but I'll just call it Magma Planet for this video. This is my favorite CrossWorld in the open network test, and it still holds up pretty well. It's also the only CrossWorld that comes from something that isn't a Sonic game. I have no idea what game it comes from, but that's just something that I know. This was my favorite CrossWorld in the open network test, and it still holds up pretty well. The aesthetic is great, and I love the dragons that show up. The song is just okay to me, but the dragons feel a little bit overused. Almost every obstacle in this track is a dragon, besides the lava dripping from the ceiling and the lasers that you can run into. Most of the track is spent in the flying game mode, which is my second favorite game mode. I hate the boat part, I'm just not good at doing it. There's a lot of open space to fly, allowing you to choose different paths throughout the track, which is actually a really good option. Overall, Magma Planet is a really good CrossWorld, and I really do like it, but it's just that the other ones are just much, much better. At 7, I chose Hidden World. This track was an interesting choice, but not one that I'll complain about. This track is from Sonic Lost World. For some reason, I like Sonic Lost World. I don't really understand why many people dislike it. Maybe because I only played the PC version of the game, not the Wii U version, but that's fine. Hidden World has a pleasing aesthetic, and the track design is great. The aesthetic looks good to me because I like environments in Sonic games that have a lot of colors, and Hidden World has a lot of colors. Pac-Man's secret cousins being in the track is really cool, and especially the last part where they try to eat you. The flying sections in this track are probably one of my favorite ones in the entire game. Maybe they actually probably are my favorite flying sections in the entire game. Nothing that I really dislike. The other ones just have a better track design and are just more fun. But there's nothing really bad to say about Hidden World. At 6th place, just short of being the top 5, we have Galactic Parade. This may be a little controversial, but I feel like this is where this track belongs. This track is from Sonic Colors. It's pretty much the first Sonic game that I really enjoyed. Forces was my first Sonic game and I liked it, but when I got Colors Ultimate, it really got me into the series. Galactic Parade looks really cool, and the remix of the song fits the original song perfectly. The flying sections with the asteroids are really fun and cool to look at if you can, because you're fighting for your life the entire race and just trying to get first place. The music with the 2 robots, as you see here, is the best part of the track. The road looks amazing, and I probably have said that word way too many times by now, but there's one tiny problem I have this part. That's the 2 robots. Right now you see them shooting Zavok up here. Here's a problem. You have to pay attention because sometimes one of them will randomly shoot you with lasers, which if you get hit by will damage you and slow you down. This is a pretty easy obstacle to get by. And Sonic Team forgot this is a Sonic racing game, and you have to avoid items from other racers and making sure not to fall off the track, which is something that's really hard for me to pay attention to and make sure I don't mess up, so I usually always mess up here. The track is still amazing though. Now, entering the top 5, we have Dragon Road. First of all, this track is so high because of one section, the boat part. When you are on extreme gear or driving in your car, as you see here, you're mainly just doing turns like Roulette Road, except that it's not as boring in the background. Looks amazing, so you can just look at things in the background if you're bored. But you have to pay attention, so that might not be the best idea. When you're in the water, the track becomes amazing. Sometimes you see the dark Gaia Phoenix in the background, but in the water, it becomes an obstacle. It shoots fire everywhere in the water, as you can see here. You have to avoid all this fire, otherwise you will get slowed down. This part just looks very pleasing and cool to look at. I'm always excited when Dragon Road gets chosen as a CrossWorld by the person in first or when I choose it. Definitely one of my favorite CrossWorlds, and that opinion will definitely never change. At 4, we have Digital Circuit. This may be a very high place for some of you, but I stand by my opinion. The track design in Digital Circuit is not so great. It lasts a very long time, but for some reason I don't mind. The main reason why it's up here is the visuals. They are gorgeous, vibrant, and extremely colorful, as you can see here, and I just love looking at them. It's my favorite track that's basically on visuals in the game. It's the best looking track in the entire game. They are gorgeous, vibrant, and extremely colorful, which are all things I really love about visuals in video games. The song nails the aesthetic perfectly. I'm always disappointed when Digital Circuit could have been chosen for the CrossWorld, but isn't. I just don't really understand why some people dislike this track. It's just really good. Starting off in the top 3, we have Haloska. I am so happy that they chose the night version of this track instead of the daytime version. I usually find night levels to be my most played levels rather than the daytime stages, at least for Sonic games. The remix of Cool Edge is amazing, and the skybox looks amazing with the northern lights in it. It's just really pretty. I also like the various different paths and choices you can make. In the water section, you can choose to stay in the water or you can choose to fly instead if that's what you want to do. I usually always choose to fly because it's easier. In the water, you can jump over the waves caused by the whale. It's easy to do but can slow you down just a little bit. And yeah, Haloska is just a really good CrossWorld. I have no complaints about this one. The only complaints I have is that it's just not longer and that it could just be so good if this came back as a stage in the next Sonic game. That would be really cool. At 2, we have Kraken Bay. It's just so close to being number 1. This track is near perfection. First of all, let's get into the track design. You get to play as all 3 game modes multiple times. You start off in the water, then move to land where you get a couple of options, whether you want to go back in the water or just keep driving. Then the CrossWorld finishes off with a flying section that's really fun and you have to avoid Kraken tentacles. The driving parts are not boring. There's so many obstacles in this track, such as Kraken tentacles, barrels, being thrown at you by ghosts, and more. Kraken Bay is overall an amazing track, and it is one of the harder tracks to actually get through. Maybe the hardest one, but I will never stop choosing Kraken Bay. At number 1, the best CrossWorld in the entire game, we have Cyberspace. This track is nothing less than sheer perfection. This may be a little biased considering this track comes from Sonic Frontiers, which is one of my favorite Sonic games, maybe my favorite Sonic game of all time. The first aspect of this track is the song. It is amazing. The remix of Cyberspace 1-2 is music to my ears. Especially another cool part is that in the third lap of the time trial, there's a specific remix for it. And the same goes for every cross, which is really cool. It's a remix of 3 different Cyberspace stages for the third lap, which is really cool detail. It may be even better than the original song from Sonic Frontiers, the remix in the first and final lap. It's my favorite song in the entire game, which is saying something because this game has great music. Now let's dive into the next part, the visuals. They perfectly match Sonic Frontiers. They are nothing short of amazing. They are all things that I saw in Sonic Frontiers, and none of the assets are really overused. It's overall just great. But now the final and most important part, is the track design good? Well, Cyberspace is the best CrossWorld for a reason. When you first get in, there are so many different paths you can take. You can go to the top and get an item, you can stay on the bottom and hit a wrap that takes you to the top route, or you can just stay at the bottom instead. Then you have a sharp turn. Normally I don't like these, but you can take a shortcut on some platforms to skip the turn entirely. The shortcut is a little difficult and requires some skill though. You can also just use a boost whip to take a shortcut through a runoff part that would normally slow you down. This will allow you to skip the turn as well. Then we get to the flying part. You have so many options here. You can just stay on top the entire time and play it safe, or you could try and grab a couple items by avoiding moving spike balls, and then boost your position in the race and hopefully win. Then you get back in your car and take a hard turn, which I messed up something, but it's not really a big deal. Then you enter the final part, which is these trucks that if run into will slow you down. There are a lot, so you have to be very careful. It makes driving in the straight line still interesting, when without the trucks this part will be really boring. And then the CrossWorld ends. I'm always disappointed when Cyberspace ends, but I can always choose it again. To end this, Cyberspace is simply the best CrossWorld in the entire game. No other CrossWorld can ever be better than this one. Overall, the CrossWorld in this game are just amazing. None of them are bad. It's just some of them at the lower spots are because the others are just more fun. Anyway, if you did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe for more content like this. I spent so much time editing this video, and it would really mean a lot to me if you subscribe. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. Anyway, I will see you all later.